Welcome to the Front Street Animal Shelter, located in the heart of downtown Sacramento, California. Every year, over 11,000 animals come through these doors. Dedicated staff and volunteers work hard to provide quality care to these animals. Each and every one has a unique story to tell, and there's always so much to learn. We'd like to explore and share some of the real-life experiences of both the animals and the humans that can be found here in A Shelter Life.
Hi, my name's Ellen.
And I'm Don.
And this is A Shelter Life.
Tonight's episode is going to be focused primarily on ACTs, which is Animal Care Technicians. And we have two great guests with us tonight. We've got Casi Scannell and we've got Jason Roberson, and they are two fantastic ACTs at Front Street. Welcome, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You bet.
All right, one of the first questions we had is, what are some of the responsibilities of an ACT?
So the biggest things for ACTs is we are the primary caretakers of the animals at the shelter. So when they come into the shelter, we're basically housing them, ultimately trying to get them back to their owner. So feeding them, cleaning them, looking at their behavior, just basically taking care of them, almost like nurses, but for animals, and showing them love.
Yeah. What do you think, what is one of the challenges you think you currently have at the actual animal shelter with the amount of animals that are coming through? So, what, on average 10,000 animals come through the doors at Front Street a year?
Right.
How do you guys handle, as ACTs, 10,000 animals a year? I mean, there's got to be some sort of drive behind that you guys pull from wherever inside and actually get this done. So, you want to talk about how you guys handle 10,000 animals a year?
It's hard, but we manage to do it. We have about 6 ACTs per team. We split off in the middle of the week. But I think a lot of what we do is thanks to the volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do it without their help.
Right. So 2 teams. So each team works, what, 4 days a week about? Something like that. And do you guys have preferences? I mean, Casi, I know you like cats, and I know Jason likes dogs.
Yep.
So are you allowed to actually work with your preference animal, or do they mix it up a bit every now and again?
It all really depends on what you're comfortable with. A lot of us are comfortable with both cats, dogs. I mean, we have rabbits. Sometimes we even have exotics like iguanas and things like that. So if you just don't want to feel like dealing with the cats today, I can go and play with the dogs if I wanted to.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes we try to mix it up, so people will have their favorites, but a lot of times you'll work in one place over and over, and then you'll kind of switch it up one day and maybe go work with cats or work with the more sick animals.
Right.
And we try to switch it up between people doing different things, so your compassion still stays at 100%. You don't get I don't know what you'd say, not bored, but overwhelmed. I don't know how to say it with the same thing over and monotony, I guess.
It helps keep it fresh.
And you brought up a pretty cool word there. You said your compassion.
Right.
So, I mean, it obviously takes one heck of a person to do what you guys do. How do you keep that compassion, and how does it affect you guys? I mean, does it come? I mean, obviously you can't always have a good day, but how do you keep? I don't know. Do you shut it off when you leave at 5, or does it kind of follow you? Or
no, I would say for me, the way I've always looked at it with animals who come in is, I want to give them. I always try to think of it as they came from maybe a horrible experience where they were abused or not fed. So I always look at it as I'm giving them like a birthday present to a 4-year-old, you know? Right. So it's giving them love that they've never had, you know, or maybe just handling them, you know, walking them on a leash, petting them, you know, rubbing their tail, giving them some good food. That's where the compassion for me always stays, because every single day you may get a happy dog that comes in, but 8 out of 10 times, most of the time that dog is scared, shut down, and we're able to provide us was there like 12 of us, you know, extra compassion and making those animals feel like they're loved.
Well, I think it comes across. I mean, I don't think there's any question that people see you with the animals, and it's obvious you guys care about the animals. Absolutely.
So I want to ask, what are some of the programs and services offered at Front Street?
So we have there's a couple different things. I mean, as far as helping the public, we have like Titanic's Pantry is one thing we do. It's food donations for people who are in need, whether they've just lost their job or they're on disability or they basically need help with their animal, whether they lost their home or something tragic might have happened. So we have that for dogs and cats.
And I've heard like sometimes 10,000 pounds of food a week.
Yeah, we did a plea one time. We took a shot of the food shed empty.
I saw that.
And
Yeah.
I mean, within the next 2 weeks, there was just carload after carload. I mean, we were still taking care of the animals, but we were getting donation calls like every 10 minutes of people with just truckloads of food coming in. And we had pallets after that from basically the city of Sacramento, everybody donating and pitching in to help people, which is awesome.
It's nice to have that sort of compassion come from the community as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
What do you guys participate in the low cost vaccinations that happen as well?
I've done myself. I've done a couple. We do. I know every third Sunday we have our vaccine clinic that we hold out in front of the shelter to help people that are on Social Security, disability, that kind of thing, unemployment. Help them get their animals, vaccinated. It's about, I want to say 100, 150 animals we help usually every month for rabies shots, those kind of things. And then also occasionally we'll do like, we did a pit bull spaying or trying to get people to spay and neuter, sign up for that, and then also vaccinations. So we'll try to hit target areas, whether it's Oak Park or the Northgate, Norwood area. We've done a couple at I think it was the Robinson Community Center. We did events out there,
Right.
Where we have, people just walking in with their animals, and we're giving them microchips and vaccines, and we're educating them on spay and neuter, signing them up for free, basically. So that's some of it.
Do you feel that that particular program gets as much publicity as it needs to?
We try to get it out there as much as we can. We put it on Facebook, and whenever somebody comes in and they're trying to adopt, I'm like, oh, well, is there any way we can get some sort of help with this? Of course, we take that into consideration with our adoptions.
Right.
But we always offer that as an incentive.
No, you're right, because that basically is an added layer that is actually available to them. So,
So we like to make sure that whoever's adopting does understand that we do have those sort of services for them.
yeah, absolutely. So what about low-cost spay and neuter? We've got that. What about, I'm dying to ask this question. So you come to work one morning, right? And there's a box by the gate or the front door, and it's full of puppies or kittens. How often does that happen?
Often.
More often than you'd expect.
We just had it on my team's opening shift. We're Sunday through Wednesday. Sunday morning we come in. We get a call from the head chief ACO saying, oh, there's a box out front, guys. And sure enough, I go out there and it's a little blue 5-gallon Tupperware Rubbermaid, and there's 2 cute, like 6-month-old pitty puppies sitting there. So it almost daily on our shift, we'll get somebody who drops off without informing us, a
Right.
box of kittens, puppies, and if your first inclination is you're frustrated, of why wouldn't you just come tell us?
Right.
We will take them, but why wouldn't you just tell us instead of leaving it there? But then that's when it comes back to the happiness, compassion for me, because as soon as you grab them, it just melts your heart.
I think one of the things that's interesting, and I know, Cassie, you can talk to this, but it's the amount of love and care that go into these kittens. I mean, a lot of these kittens have to be bottle fed for how many weeks?
At least 2 to 3, maybe sometimes even 4.
Right.
It all depends on the state that they're in.
And obviously, there's obviously limited room in the shelter. We all know that. So what happens with all these kittens?
We're lucky enough, like I was talking about before, with our volunteers. We also have our amazing foster program that will take our cats and basically raise them. We're not able to spay or neuter them under 2 pounds. So what we try to do is make sure that they get to that point through foster homes, because the last place that we want these animals to be is in the shelter.
Right.
We don't want them there.
Right.
We take them in because we have to, and that's better than them being in the streets.
Right.
So when we send them to these foster homes, they're lucky enough to have that one-on-one time with that person for basically their most important years of life, growing up and socializing. So for us to be able to put them into homes and to be bottle fed, to be raised by all these amazing fosters is really something special.
And obviously, we have a foster program for the dogs as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Our dog foster program is alive and well. It works. It goes for animals that are really scared and shut down, to broken limbs, to really sick, really anything that is not thriving in our area that we think could be adopted out.
Right.
Just needs a little bit of extra time. It's going to foster.
Well, I'm a failed foster, so I can attest to the foster program at Front
Hear,
Street.
hear on that.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Okay.
So how important would you say the volunteers are for Front Street?
Very much so. Very, very, very important. I just know when we come in the morning, our manager, he'll come in with a list and say, okay, well, here's how many people we have for kennel cleaning, here's how many people we have for adoptions. And it's so nice to have that weight lifted off our shoulders. We're like, we have to get all this done by a certain time before we open.
Right.
And knowing that we have that support through our community and through our volunteers to help get us done, it's really...
Yeah, and they do, you think of it as they come in and do even the basic stuff, washing dishes, doing laundry, just interacting with the dogs that we have.
Yeah.
There is tremendous amounts of things that they do for us, and you'd be surprised. I mean, there's at any given time, there's probably 200 dog bowls, 50 cat litter pans.
Oh, yeah.
20 feral dens, and if we took ACTs away from that, that's less time for us to assess dogs, move them up for adoption. So without volunteers, we would sink. Really, I mean, if we did not have the support of volunteers, we would not thrive.
Yep.
What do you think is the most enjoyable part of your job?
Oh,
If
for
there
me,
was, I mean, there might be a couple of things, but
Yeah.
what really stands out is your favorite part of your job?
my favorite part is adoptions. So and really talking to any type of person, a potential adopter, citizen who comes in, I really get such a kick out of seeing someone how happy or their kids might be when they come in to meet an animal. To me, that's just something that you can't really buy. You can't put a price on that. Seeing how happy someone is when you find that match for them,
Right.
that's it for me.
And I mean, not only that, seeing the happiness out of the people, but seeing the happiness out of the animals, where they're finally with somebody.
Yep.
It's like flicking on a light switch. They just know instantly that they're with the right person.
Right.
I think the animals choose the people.
Yeah. All right.
Can you talk a little bit more about the process of pairing a pet with a pet parent?
Yeah, so we, when a potential adopter comes in, they fill out basically a questionnaire for dogs and cats on have they owned before, do they have animals in their household, what's their schedule like to try to match them up with the right type of animal. I mean, cats are a little more independent, so it's a little bit easier. But for dogs, you really got to figure out lifestyles,
Right.
what type of breed it is as far as how much energy they're going to have, how much exercise they may need. And then with the adopter, how much exercise tolerance they can take, or what kind of dog do they really want? They want a lap dog, or do they want a border collie who may do 500 laps a day? You
I can't
really
just pick
have
one
to pair
'cause
it
it's
up.
cute.
Yeah, so that's a thing that you really have to focus on, is trying to pair up the right dog, which for the most part I'd say we're pretty good at.
Challenges.
Challenges
I'm sure the challenges that you guys face on a daily basis are.
For me, it's how long they sit there. So animal, when it comes in, has to stay on its stray hold, and then depending on if it has identification or not is how long it's going to stay before we can do what we need: behavior assess it, medical assess it, and move it up for adoption. But because of staffing, and ACTs are the ones who have to do evaluations on dogs and move them up, animals will sit longer. So my hardest thing to deal with is seeing some of these animals have to sit 2, 3, 4 weeks before they can even get moved up. And it's not the animal's fault. It's all based on not having enough animal care technicians to get it done, assess them, and move them up. That's where the fostering comes in, which is phenomenal, that the ones that may sit a little longer, they can at least go out and be out of the shelter environment to really see their behavior. Then put them up for adoption.
Yep.
How hard is it from a medical standpoint, making sure all the animals, the dogs and the cats and the bunnies, are taken care of health-wise? I mean, obviously, we've heard of kennel cough or something like that, but do you guys, what is the routine for medications? I mean, you have 98 dog kennels, right? So
Yeah.
and most of those kennels are not single.
Right.
So
No.
you're
So
talking
yeah.
multiple dogs. How do you guys do the medications?
Our dog population is usually around, I think Gina says like 160 dogs, maybe 100 and right around there, 150 cats maybe. So
On a
right
good
around the
day.
300 mark is usually that's what we always have, is somewhere around that 300 mark. Now it can fluctuate way up or sometimes a little bit lower. But that comes back to the ACTs. As we're going around daily, feeding them, cleaning them, it's on us to observe what's going on with them. So whether they start coughing, so it's just each team due diligence in observing the animals, how they are while they're there, how they're eating, if they're drinking, if their bowel movements are okay,
Right. Right.
really how it's our responsibility to make sure that animal is okay. And sometimes these animals are owned, so you really got to look at it as almost like a boarding facility. So if someone's paying for you to take care of their animal, it's almost the same way. You want that animal to go home to someone who've lost their animal, the same condition that it would have left them, so it's really
Compassion again.
yep, it's on the ACTs to take care of these pups and kitties as best as we can.
Can you talk a little bit about the work that some of the volunteers do with the animals while they're waiting to be adopted?
Yeah, our volunteer program has done great things recently, especially. They've been setting up programs to take dogs on frequent walks to make sure that they're out of the kennel environment for at least some amount of time to help reduce the kennel stress.
Yep.
We've also been actually we're going to be starting up with play groups
Yep.
relatively soon. I think next week we're starting with
Right.
small dog play groups. So that way, again, they get more socialization and they're able to exercise that energy that they can't stuck in that kennel.
And the volunteers do that so that you guys can make sure the medications are done,
Yep.
Right.
the behavior evaluations are getting completed.
Right.
So ultimately, for the ultimate goal of saving more lives.
Right.
Yep. We've had some volunteers who have religiously come in for the last several years, every Monday, Tuesday, just to walk dogs. And just getting them out of their kennel is huge, and working with these dogs in their kennel
Right.
on things like kennel stress, which is, it's after you've been in that cell, you want to call it for so long, you just get amped up, you need to run. So they work on in-kennel behavior stuff, so trying to get them to relax while they're in there. Taking them out, like she said, on walks. We have the volunteers get together on little walk groups.
Right.
I think we have a new one every Saturday that they take dogs out. They take about 10 to 15 dogs out and just walk them around, see how they do around each other. They also do offsite events. So our volunteers, and that's all really volunteer based, that they take a certain amount of dogs that maybe they haven't been there so long, maybe they have. They take them to offsite events at different places to try to get them adopted also. But mostly just interacting with them is a huge thing that they do while they're waiting to
And
be
not-
adopted.
Yeah. And not only that, but it also helps with the adoption process itself because you get more one-on-one time with that dog, so we learn more about its mannerisms, whether
Yep,
it's a
right.
jumper, whether it can sit really well, different things like that.
Well, you guys have got a plethora of information, and it's been great talking to all of you tonight. We can't express thanks enough for coming here and telling us what ACTs do at Front Street, and maybe we can do a part 2 to this
Yeah.
down the road because I know you guys do so much more than what we covered tonight. So keep in mind, Front Street Animal Shelter, like us on Facebook, look at petsearch.com as well. And so on behalf of everybody at Front Street, I'd like to thank the volunteers at Front Street and the great volunteers we have at Access Sacramento as well. Until next time, my name's Don.
My name's Ellen.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on Shelter Life.
Hello, I'm Gina Knapp, and I manage the Front Street Animal Shelter for the City of Sacramento. Our staff and volunteers are incredibly proud of the work we do for the lost, stray, abandoned, neglected, and surrendered animals that come into our care. And we've made great strides on Front Street, but we also realize that there is still more work to be done. With the help and support of people just like you, we know we will ultimately achieve our goal, which is saving more lives.